All right, guys, so this is really interesting to me. This is Mitt Romney saying the quiet part out loud when it comes to the 2024 presidential race. This is in Mediaite. Romney urges Republican megadonors and influencers to push their candidates out of the 2024 race to stop Trump. So he writes this piece in the Wall Street Journal. It's a very short piece, but this sums it up very well. Senator Mitt Romney published an op-ed in the Wall Street Journal on Monday, pleading with the power brokers of his own party not to repeat what he sees as the mistakes of the 2016 GOP primary, which led to Donald Trump's shock win of the nomination. Romney began by noting that a baker's dozen Republicans are challenging Trump to be the GOP standard bearer in 2024, and it is possible for any of them if the field narrows to a two-person race before Mr. Trump has the nomination sewn up. Look, he's just right about this. This one is not debatable. It's not up in the air. It's not a question. The only chance you have of taking down Trump is to just have a 1v1 race. And even then, you got to cross your fingers and hope you can get it done, right? But with this many candidates running, you are splitting all of the non-Trump vote, and he's consolidated the Trump vote. And I got news for you. The Trump vote is about 50% or maybe more at the moment of the Republican base. So who do you think is going to win? He doesn't even need 50. He just needs a plurality. He could win with 32. But he's got 50 or more, and there's 17 other idiots trying to make a name for themselves. So this is Romney going, hey, idiots, we've seen this movie before. We know how it's going to end, and it's going to end like it did in 2016 with him winning the nomination. Do you really want that? The 2012 Republican GOP nominee for president then argued, quote, Republican megadonors and influencers, large and small, are going to have to do something they didn't do in 2016. Get candidates they support to agree to withdraw if and when their paths to the nomination are effectively closed. So he's saying, okay, I know who's really in charge here. It's not the politicians. It's the megadonors. And he's pleading to the megadonors to say, pull the plug on support for your preferred candidate by a certain date so we have a chance of beating Trump. Romney even went as far as to offer a specific date for all but one non-Trump candidate to drop out of the race. That decision should be no later than, say, February 26th, the Monday following the contest in Iowa, New Hampshire, Nevada, and South Carolina. Dude, that's way too late, bro. That's way too late. No way. No way is that good enough. They would need to drop out way. So I would say drop out nowington. I mean, you want to fiddle around for 3 or 4 more months? Okay, but no. This is not, even his plan is way too lenient. The Utah Republican then noted that this may not be an easy task as, quote, there are incentives for no-hope candidates to overstay their prospects. Coming in behind first place may grease another run in 4 years or have market value of its own. Mike Huckabee and Rick Santorum got paying gigs, and as former New Hampshire Governor John H. Sununu has observed, it is fun running for president if you know you cannot win. Romney then took a short walk down memory lane to a time when candidates themselves used to consolidate the field, noting that those days are far behind us. He argued that PACs and billionaire donors are now the ones pulling many of the strings, oh, you don't say, in modern campaigns. This is the quiet part out loud. And that they have a responsibility to give their funds with clear eyes about their candidates' prospects. Romney concluded by taking an indirect shot at Trump, writing, our party and our country need a nominee with character, driven by something greater than revenge and ego, preferably from the next generation. Family, friends, and campaign donors are the people who can get a lost cause candidate to exit the race. After February 26th, they should start doing just that. Again, he's being very lenient. I wouldn't wait that long. If you really want to have any prayer of beating Trump, the sooner you drop out, the better. It needs to be 1 versus 1. I mean, ideally, I think DeSantis still has the best shot, even though his campaign's a mess and he's imploding. He's still in second place. There's some states where Vivek is tied with him, but it's like one state, and it's an outlier poll. Anyway, this is their only hope. And it's crazy to me that Romney's the only one saying it. And look, the fact of the matter is, I don't think Republican leadership is nearly as organized as Democratic leadership is. I think they lost control of the base of the party. They lost control of many of the other politicians. And they can't do what Joe Biden pulled off at the last minute against Bernie Sanders in 2020. We all remember what happened. Bernie basically won the first 3 contests with a little asterisk next to Iowa with the whole Pete spiel. Anyway, you know how that went. But all the Democratic candidates dropped out, or many of the centrist ones, I should say, dropped out and endorsed Joe Biden the same day. And that gave Biden the massive boost that he needed to get Beto's voters, to get Pete Buttigieg's voters, Amy Klobuchar's voters. That gave him the boost that he needed to win. If they didn't do that and didn't do it at that moment, it's a wrap. It was a wrap. And Bernie was going to win. But they pulled a rabbit out of a hat, and it was because the Democratic leadership is coordinated. And there was even reporting that maybe Barack Obama made the phone call to all the other candidates, say, what do you want? We'll make a deal, but you got to drop out and endorse Joe. And I don't see that sort of organizational skill on the right. In fact, I think if they had that sort of organizational skill, we wouldn't even be in the place we are right now where there's 78 candidates running. Because this is just giving Trump a better and better chance. So, now, by the way, I don't think that's a good thing on the Democratic side. I wish Bernie did win. I wish the Democratic establishment wasn't as ruthlessly effective as they are when they want to go after the left. But on the right, there's zero organization. They lost control of the base. They lost control of many of their politicians. A lot of these people are running virtue signal campaigns, knowing they can't win, but that's still going to help split the vote and help Donald Trump. And as Mitt Romney's saying, this is absolutely going to be a repeat of 2016, unless you change stuff up. He's right about that. But again, I think it's also very telling that this really was a letter to the donor class. It really was a letter to the billionaires. It really was a letter to the corporations. Like, okay, you guys are really in charge, so this is advice for you guys. Wow. That's also true. That's also true. So anyway, we're looking at a repeat of 2016 at the moment. That's the most likely scenario. And apparently Mitt Romney is the only one who understands the dynamic on the right and is willing to say anything about it. Or maybe they all know it and they don't care. But either way, they're already blowing it. And not only have they lost control of the base for now, they may have lost control of the base for years and years to come, for decades to come. Because it's Trump's party, and Lord only knows what will happen after Trump. I guess we'll see. Well, maybe we won't, because he seems like he's never going to die. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.